And what is going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of the WeSportin podcast today. And today we are back now discussing NFL free agency. It's going to be a pretty big free agency. There's going to be a lot of signings, going to be a lot of things going on in free agency, a lot of franchise tags, a lot of people getting traded, and it's going to be very interesting to see what's going to happen in the NFL this offseason. So now going into it, also there's some other topics that were happening today too, about Tua's contract being released, about how much money he'll be making, and then also there's NFL Combine guys that can be able to boost up their stock at the Combine. It's trying to succeed and trying to get boost their stock up a little bit to try to get a higher draft pick in the NFL. And we also seen a lot of players getting interviews set for the draft, along with like Caleb Williams and Drake May and Jaden Daniels and much more. So first off, Dylan, where do you want to start? You want to start with the Combine, Tua, or which one do we want to start off with?
That's what we prefer. I don't have a specific.
Well, we'll start with the Combine. So, Dylan, before we were talking in here, Dylan did mention that that the NFL Combine is something pretty big to discuss, obviously, because it's going to boost up guys' stocks. What guys, Dylan, have to go into this NFL Combine, and what do they have to do to succeed, and who are the guys that need to do that?
So I think the biggest thing is there's really two major tools you would have, or I guess you could say three, but two major tools I think you would have if you're specifically an offensive lineman or defensive lineman when you're leading up to a draft, right? So say you're a smaller guy or a smaller school guy, or you're just like a mid-round guy who could be a top, 1 to 2 round guy. You have the Senior Bowl and you have the Combine. Because we know we know tackles aren't going to run an insane 40 and be a top 10 pick because of just like a corner or a wide receiver could, right? Like we saw it with like a John Ross, right? Who was good at Washington, but wasn't like insane. But then he ran the crazy combine and then he was a top pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So guys that I would be looking at would be like a Tyler Guyton, the tackle out of Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Graham Barton, maybe.
No, I mean, another guy I'd look at is like Patrick Paul, because Patrick Paul needs to have a good combine. Patrick Paul had a pretty bad Senior Bowl, so he needs to have a good combine to stay in that early second round, late first guy. So there's some guys like that. You look at the skill position; it's a relatively deep wide receiver class, even though it's kind of while it's deep, it's kind of heavily controversial because like these guys. Some people will hate him, some people love him. Like Keon Coleman, for example. If Keon Coleman goes out and has a really good combine, we're not saying, oh, he sucks, he's a third-round pick. We're saying, oh, maybe he's like a first-round pick. Xavier Leggette's another guy who I think would have an interesting combine just because he measured in smaller than people thought, but he could run a really good speed, and then we're in a different conversation. Mm. And last few guys, Malachi Corley, who's like a fourth-round pick. He's smaller, but if he goes out here and what we saw him do in his conference, if he goes out here and has a really good speed, then he could be another guy who shoots up. Mm-hmm. So there's guys like that who, you have the difference of people who could just help their draft stuff, like some of these wideouts, like Xavier Legette, no matter what's going to be a top 3-round guy. But if he runs a 4.3, now we're talking about him as a first round or very early second round guy.
Right.
But if a guy like Patrick Paul goes out and has a really, really bad combine, then now you're saying maybe he's like a third round tackle. So it's just a lot of guys really need to have a good combine.
Right. So, I mean, now going into it too, I know that we're sitting here and we're, discussing the combine and sitting here now, what guy now, top guy, and I feel like none of these top guys have really nothing to prove, but it's going to depend on what team they go to. Does a guy like Drake May or like a Jaden Daniels have something to prove in these combines or pro days? Because I know what they both said that they're not throwing at the combine, correct?
Only one I know that's not done at the combine is Caleb Williams. I'm not sure if Drake and Jaden aren't.
Well, what do those guys? What do they have to prove? Are they in their own tier? Is there a way that they can excel to try to like really make that second or third overall pick easier to decide?
Yeah, maybe you could argue Jaden Daniels just because he's a lot more athletic. I don't think Drake May has anything to prove at the combine, just because what he would have to prove wouldn't show at the combine. Like he's not this athletic guy like AR last year. AR last year, like we wanted to see how fast he would run. And Jaden Daniels, you could maybe argue the same thing if he's going to run a 40. With Drake, like what? I mean, we know he has the arm. Like, what is he going to want to prove?
Right.
To show that. I mean, I think every other position would have more to prove. Because even the quarterback combine now, like, what are you seeing that like makes you change your opinion? I think the interviews are what matter for them anyway. So
Yeah.
I don't think at all. No.
Apparently, the S2 test also very much weighs in a lot of.
Like, admit nothing. Like admit absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it was so stupid. Now, Chris. Now, obviously, now being a Washington fan, you're sitting there. Are you going to be more now analytical, more towards the interview processes between Jaden Daniels and Drake May to try to figure out who you want, or do you kind of have an idea of who you want already?
I mean, I'm not on Washington staff, but if I
Well,
was,
I'm more talking like I'm talking your opinion. That's on me. That's more of your like it's like an opinionated question for you.
I would want to if what I'd want to see from. What I'd want to see though.
That was a cool moment, man.
Nah, that's crazy though. Nah, but all right. What's the question again? Nah, they threw me off though.
Okay, so as a Washington fan, I'm gonna reiterate, Washington fan, not part of the staff.
Right.
As a fan of the team, what matters to you most? Is it how they do in their pro days, or how is it they talk in the interview? And if you have decided already, what quarterback do you want in Washington?
I'm not gonna lie, like I said, I don't really like Drake May. Like Dylan said though, bro, like with everything left, bro, there's nothing really for either of the quarterbacks to show, especially Drake May, bro. Everything you want to see from Drake May is stuff. Well, at least the stuff that I would want to see from Drake May comes from playing like actual NFL games, bro. So seeing like stuff like what he can throw at the combine, like we already know he got a crazy arm. He's gonna throw something crazy at the combine if he does throw. We know Jaden Daniels is crazy athletic. If he was to run at the combine, we know his running time's gonna be good. So it's nothing really for them to show at the combine, bro. We already know who they are. Really, I would like to see both of them as the NFL game. Obviously, you can't see that until you draft them. But if I had to pick a quarterback right now, it'd be Jaden Daniels, though.
Yeah. So I mean, going now, I think this is kind of the next kind of talk. Is I'm going to tell you guys all this now. This whole combine discussion was brought up by Dylan, but I kind of brought up a question in my mind too. Is who's going to be that hype prospect over like hype prospect? Like we're talking like he performs phenomenal. He's viewed high by many people, many analysts, talk shows, podcasts, ESPN, all those guys. What guy in this draft has that point of view on them that you think can just be a Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson kind of guy?
Oh, we're talking about quarterbacks.
I mean, well, those are just examples. Like you could
So
also
you're saying who's going to be a good prospect that sucks in the NFL?
Yeah, let's go off of that. I mean, I'm just going off of those two just because off the top of my head, the most notable guys.
Damn, that's a weird question. So I wouldn't say I've gotten so deep into my draft analysis that I'm sitting here saying I have like a list of like do not drafts yet. Who comes to mind? I don't like Keon Coleman. I think he could be good. I saw a quote from an NFL draft analyst not that long ago who was basically saying that all these guys are great prospects. It really just depends where they go, whether they'll be good in the NFL. And I think that's a really valid thing at this point, unless you get a guy like a Manziel who just does not care. But there's just not many guys coming out right now that just don't care about football. And like I guess you got like an Isaiah Wilson a few years ago, but like so it's really hard to say a guy that I think will absolutely suck in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I have one. Troy Fontenot, the Washington offensive tackle, I think he's pretty bad. So I guess I would say him. Other than that, I think he's just overhyped. I think he's like a third-round tackle, and he's getting talked about like a top 15 pick. So maybe him. I don't think Dallas Turner pops off film like people say. I think Dallas Turner is good. So that I think Dallas Turner is he could be a really solid player. But I don't see like the top 5 out of him.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, I don't really have like a direct guy I'm like super, super low on this year.
Mm-hmm. So now, Chris, obviously, and the only reason why I asked Chris the commander questions is because we've seen many reactions from Chris. Well, not many. We've seen the Emmanuel Forbes reaction, and it's pretty funny. So out of this year's draft, what is a guy that I'm not even the Commanders would take, but a team that would just get you just like why would you draft him to your team? Like what would get like what's a guy that you just think that's not going to be good? And in a specific spot, like
if we talking about other than Commanders taking Drake May at 2, I would say I seen a mock draft recently on the NFL page that had JJ McCarthy 7 to the Falcons. I'm not gonna lie, if I was a Falcons fan and if I took JJ McCarthy at 7 as a Falcons fan, I'd flip my chair though. I'm not gonna it'd get bad.
Dylan.
I don't agree, but I think there's also a point of value, and there's a point of you need a quarterback if you're Atlanta. I don't think JJ McCarthy. He's not my quarterback. He's my quarterback 5. While I don't think that JJ McCarthy was a top 7 pick, you have to look at it from the point of if Atlanta absolutely needs a quarterback and Atlanta views JJ McCarthy as their quarterback 3 or 4, which I don't think he'd have him as 3, but if they have him as their quarterback 4, which is a very good possibility. Like Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy, and Bo Nix are all there. I don't think there's one clear ahead of the other 3, even though I think Michael Penix is pretty good. If Atlanta has him as his quarterback 4 and nobody wants to trade back with him, I think it's a reach, but like if he pans out, nobody's saying this is bad. So like, and then JJ McCarthy very well could pan out. Like he has a lot of talent. We just didn't get to see him throw at Michigan. So like, while I don't think it's a good pick, that wouldn't make me like lose. It'd be a surprise. I wouldn't think Atlanta should like fire everybody though. Like not like Zach Wilson level.
I think if you're in Atlanta situation, I feel like regardless of what you do with the whole Justin Fields thing, and if you're in it, and if you get him, whatever, I still don't think that they would go really. I think honestly they'd probably just. If I'm just talking realistically, they'll probably go like Dallas Turner if the whole Justin Fields thing works out. If it doesn't, and they're really looking for a quarterback in that position, I don't know. It's just like where they're at right now is such an awkward spot to take a quarterback because it's not like it's a need. It's going to be a reach, but you kind of have to get it right there. So Denver and Minnesota and what's that other team that's there that I'm missing? Denver, Minnesota. There's one more team that needs a quarterback in that spot.
Vegas is right there, right?
Yeah, Vegas. There you go, Vegas. But I think Vegas is in the loop for like Wilson or something. I don't know. But yeah, the JJ McCarthy is a very interesting prospect because I think if there's a guy who could boost his stock up, he's probably one of those guys who can probably boost the stock up because like you said, nobody has seen him throw, and
not to the level we
not seen him throw, but like he was in a very run heavy offense, and it's like he's definitely getting a lot of those opportunities for himself.
And I mean, all reports show to him being a really good leader in the locker room, which is a positive for these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think he will interview well. From what we've heard from his coaching staff that he worked with, there is some rumbling about him very well being a top 10 pick because he just has the talent. Should he be? I don't think so. But like genuinely, if you go watch every JJ McCarthy play, like every throw for like a few games, like the dude has talent. Like he has the talent to be an NFL starter. Like he has a very good arm. He's surprisingly mobile. He's very good on the run. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I think he probably will be a top 15, 20 pick, even though I don't necessarily think he's better than Penix. He's more talented than Penix and is a lot better with pressure than Penix. So I could very well see him being a top 15, 20 pick.
Yeah, I mean, a really good game to go back and watch for JJ McCarthy is that TCU game, that playoff game that they were in with TCU, because they were playing from behind that whole game, and they were not running the ball as much. So I mean, if anyone, I'm just saying in general, if anyone wants to go back and watch a good JJ McCarthy throwing game, probably the TCU one. And I feel like the other guy too. Do you believe in the rumors, Chris, that the Drake May fall could really happen out of the top 3? Do you think that could actually happen, or do you think that's just a shit that's going?
I think it'd be a higher chance that he get picked number 1 than he fall, bro. Honestly,
you think Chicago would make that 80?
I think he'd get picked number 1 before he falls past like the top 5.
Really? And you think that? I mean, you don't think the hype around Caleb is not big enough for anyone to take that spot? You think Drake May is capable of taking that spot with a good pro day and a good combine?
Yeah, I think so. It really depends though, bro, because like you said, it don't even like seem like Caleb obviously supposedly the generational prospect, but it don't even seem like it's like he's 100% a lock right now. So I wouldn't be totally surprised if niggas just like took Drake May and like Drake May more, bro. Mm-hmm. Definitely with Caleb Williams reportedly like not like being like he's saying that he'd be just as happy if he went to the Bears as any other team, but I don't necessarily believe that. So I feel like the Bears got to look out for that as well, bro.
Yeah. So now, what team could do that? What team could make that? What team, if it's not Chicago, or if it is Chicago, if you think it's going to be Chicago that takes that Drake May risk, what team in this?
Come on now.
What's up?
Just nothing. Go ahead.
No, what'd you say?
You said Drake may risk. Like, come on now.
Well, I mean, look. Here's the thing: is that if you take Drake May with the first overall,
let's not
pick,
act like Drake May is in a more for sure
my
prospect
thing.
than Caleb Williams. By the way, let's not act like that.
No. But if you take Drake May with the number 1 overall pick, the national media is going to look at you like a fucking idiot, and
they're not. I think the only people that would is like you, bro. Like I think
you're lying.
I think
You're not
you guys
sit here and tell me
genuinely overestimate how much you think that like the national media thinks that Drake May is like quarterback 3. Like there is like a few people.
I don't think it's that, but I definitely think most of the national media would take Caleb Williams over Drake May.
I'm not even disagreeing with that. I'm just saying like I think saying like, oh, Drake May is this huge risk at 1, but Caleb Williams is guaranteed number 1. Like I just think that like Caleb Williams I think is almost more a project than Drake May is. So I don't see. I'm not saying that he is, but he's in that. Like let's not act like Caleb Williams is for sure like step in day 1 Pro Bowl type guy. Like he's not that type of quarterback. He's going to take time to develop. So I just think saying Drake May risk, they should just take Caleb. It's just like an idiotic thing to say.
But here's the thing though, is that like Caleb is getting these mocks to, being generational talent. If you do take Drake May over Caleb Williams, it is considered a risk. Like, that is a risk.
All right,
taking any quarterback at 1 is considered a risk. Taking any quarterback.
You see how CJ Stroud had a crazy rookie season. If you had to pick one, Caleb Williams or Drake May to give you that CJ Stroud like rookie season, who you taking, bro?
Drake May. Absolutely Drake May. Absolutely Drake May. In a heartbeat, Drake May.
I need a reason.
Sure, I can give you a ton of reasons. Okay, so let's go through them. Let's go through them. Number 1, we talked about this last
time. It's February, bro. We got 1 day left, though, Dylan.
When we talked about the draft, we had talked. I was talking about things that would transfer over to the NFL. I think Caleb Williams for like the first 7 games. Not that Caleb Williams isn't going to be a good quarterback. I imagine he will be because he's just so talented that in the right situation. And I think somebody's going to really build around Caleb Williams. But I think in the right situation, he could be a very talented quarterback. But unfortunately for Caleb, he's going to have growing pains. It's just going to happen.
And Drake May's not?
No, Drake May's going to have growing pains. But when we look at the most recent examples, right? The best rookie quarterback season before CJ Stroud was the direct comp to Drake May and the exact guy who Drake May looks like in college and Justin Herbert. And Justin Herbert was the same thing. Oh, no way he has a good rookie year. He's such a project. Comes in and has literally the best rookie year for a quarterback ever. Like, when was the last time a guy who will not, like, unfortunately for Caleb, like, we had, at least, especially last year at USC, we did not see him operate in structure. Like, he just didn't operate in structure, which doesn't mean he can't, but he didn't last year. When was the last time we saw a quarterback who did not operate in structure, at least enough on film in college, come in and have the best rookie season ever for a quarterback, or at least the best out of this class for what we think is a strong quarterback class? I would think Jaden Daniels would have a really good rookie quarterback season too, to the point I'd almost think he'd have a better rookie quarterback season than Caleb is. Not that he's going to be a better quarterback. Huh?
Look, bro, here's the thing. Look, bro, I don't know if you and Nico then got on some phone call and said, hey, bro, we going to make hot takes for the clips. But come on.
I don't think it's a hot take.
Drake May, let me tell you, bro. Let's look at the top 3 teams in the draft, bro. You got the Bears, offensive line not going to block anybody. The Commanders' offensive line is, like, going to let everybody through. Come on, bro. None of these offensive lines are like TSA. The Patriots offensive line trash, bro. Yeah. Drake May is a statue in the pocket, bro.
He's not a statue in the pocket. That's not true.
None of those teams, bro. On none of those teams, bro, is he having a CJ Stroud like rookie season, bro. He will be sacked 60+ times, bro.
So I mean, it really depends on the situation too, right? So like, if Caleb goes, say for let's say that the top 3 states, right? If Caleb goes to Chicago, Drake goes to Washington, and Jaden goes to New England. So say it goes 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks, right?
Right.
Let's just say that's what most people are saying it's going to be, right? If that's what happens, are we not going to act like Washington does not have a better situation right now than Chicago?
It's close though, bro.
I don't think weapons wise it's close.
Even then though, bro, it's like it's close enough to where I still take Caleb Williams. I would still take Caleb Williams to have a better season if I had.
I'm just saying. I think if we have Drake May in Washington, we're assuming Adam, is Adam Peters, or what's your GM name?
Adam Peters.
Adam Peters, yeah.
I'm assuming he's going to be probably a pretty good drafter. So if he drafts Drake May with 2, goes out and gets maybe a Patrick Paul in the second, who could be a starting left tackle day one. Not that he will be, but he could be with good development. I really do think Washington's in a better spot to have a good rookie quarterback than Chicago is. Or that absolutely, I think whoever goes to New England's going to have a really bad year. It's just a bad situation. But Chicago too, like I don't think their coaches are good at all. Like I don't see that.
I feel what
so
you're
I
saying,
think,
bro, but it's just like, bro, in my opinion, bro, obviously you way higher on Drake May than any of us, and you not as high on Caleb Williams as much of us are. So obviously that's how you gonna feel, bro. But as a nigga, like I don't really like Drake May, so I'm gonna keep it honest, bro. I just think that Caleb Williams so much better than Drake May is, if we being honest. So I would say Drake May gonna have a better season, no matter if Washington's really like the better landing spot or not. You can keep going though.
Yeah, I just on my standpoint on the whole Drake May thing, he's my quarterback 3. I'm not a fan. I mean, he's good. I don't see anything like kind of what Chris said. And it's my thing too. It's that like his play style just does not fit the modern like day NFL. I feel like it's just it doesn't. It really. If you go and watch his,
what does that even? Okay, wait a minute. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say.
I let you talk. You're gonna let me fucking talk.
That was a stupid thing. Okay, go ahead.
That was so stupid thing. His dude, he literally stands in the fucking pocket. Did you not watch any of his film? He just sits.
Go finish your statement, please, so I can rebuttal. Like,
all he does, all Drake May does is he sits in the pocket, and he. I mean, yes, his pocket presence is okay. It's okay at best. I'm not sitting here saying, but Drake May has he's kind of putting into words. But I'm watching Drake May play. If he's taking a sack, he's trying to make a play out of that sack, which I don't fully agree with. Either you go down or you just try to get it away. There's no point. He does way too much in the pocket. He tries to do way too much. He tries to do too much, and that's the problem. He just sits there, and then when something happens and he gets sacked, he tries to do these fucking plays, and he'll get it off. Now, granted, he gets them off, but let's fucking not sit and act like he's going to be fucking doing that if Aaron Donald's coming at his ass. You're not telling me he's doing the fucking ball off if Aaron Donald's fucking riding his ass sitting there. I'm sorry. He does too much. I don't think he makes NFL-type throws. I think his throws are kind of shit. And I think he makes bad fucking decisions, and it's really bad. And he's so dog shit too. I don't get why you're sitting here like glazing the man. You know what I mean? He did like I don't get it. You're trying to sit here and say, "Oh, he has a higher chance at going number one."
Bro, look at Chris's face, bro. Chris even knows you're being dumb right now, bro. It's crazy.
This is like legit. Like I've said this multiple fucking times. You're sitting here saying you said it yourself that Drake May has a higher chance at going number one than him falling out the top 3. You said that, right?
Chris said that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, oh, you said that? Well, I thought y'all agree. Well, I think that's a bullshit thing. I think he has fucking chances of falling out the top 3 and falling to like fucking 5 or 6. I don't fucking know. I just don't get what the hype is around Drake May. I just think.
Bro, what I feel like you gotta understand is, bro, that you are not like not even trying to like attack, but like if we being honest, bro, it doesn't really matter what we think, bro. So it's really just about how the NFL executives are thinking, bro. And if we're going based off of rumors, I feel like they think they are way higher on Drake May than you are. I think that they are closer to saying, "Oh, I would take Drake May over Caleb Williams," than I'm not taking Drake May over Jaden Daniels, bro. I feel like you may be the only person, well, me and you, bro, because I do 50% agree that I'd take Jaden Daniels over but I'm not necessarily. Personally, I'm saying I would take Jaden Daniels on the Commanders over Drake May. I'm not saying he's 100% a better quarterback than Drake May. So it's really not like, you feeling me? Like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
Drake May, bro. So it's like I feel like they are high on Drake May. The NFL front offices are high on him, and they would take him over Caleb Williams.
And I get that. And I could be sitting here and I could be all wrong. I could get clipped in the next 6 months from now, 7-8 months from now when Drake May is on the offensive. Stop nodding your damn head because he's not fucking doing anything special. I'm telling you right now, if he goes to like the Patriots, dude, I can see him succeeding in the Patriots system. Honest to God. honestly, if it's the Patriots, if it's in Washington, fuck no, he's a bust. Like I don't care. If he goes to Washington, he is going to be a generational bust. Along if he goes to Chicago, he has to have somewhat of an offensive line around him just to even fucking do a thing.
New England doesn't have an offensive line.
Honestly, out of the top 3 though, he might have, like, unironically, he might actually have the best chance in Washington, unironically, bro. But
It's true.
Wait, and what? I'm sorry.
Drake may have the best chance to be a good NFL quarterback in Washington, unironically, bro. Out of the top,
I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think Jaden Daniels has a higher chance.
Patriots terrible, bro. Like he would like actually rock on the Patriots, the Bears. Like Dylan said, I'm not really the biggest fan of their coaches. I think Washington new front office, he'd have the best chance, bro. Even though I still don't like the chances fully, bro. But like I don't like him just because he's not as like athletic, bro. Like on like running wise, bro. But I think he could. I don't know, man. I think he could be a good quarterback. Maybe I'm just down on. I didn't like his college film. Definitely the games where he played like actual good defensive scores. That's all I don't like about Drake, man.
Yeah, and I sat there and I watched, and I will say I watched the NC State game, I watched the Duke game, I watched the Clemson game, you know, and I kind of saw all 3 versions of Drake May in those games. It was just in that Clemson game, it really just rubbed me the wrong way. And the NC State was like, it was an okay game. And then that Duke game, he played really good. He had to go and win UNC that football game himself on that point. It's just such a like, it's different versions of him. And in my opinion, like where his bads are really bad and his goods are like, okay. So like, I'm just really in the middle, and I'm already expecting this fucking asshole to my fucking left or right to sit here and throw me all his goddamn Mel Kiper thoughts and bullshit at me. So I'm gonna just let him do it. So just Dylan, let me hear it.
So I clearly disagree with this. So here's what I struggle with just off the bat. I don't doubt you watch the games. I struggle to feel like you can watch film. That's my thing. And here's why I'm saying this.
Damn.
Here's why I'm saying this. I think not that it takes a lot. I just think there's something about paying attention to it. My thing is like saying somebody. There's a few things. So first, you said he was a statue, which I think is pretty a bad take. It's like a bad take. Is he Jaden Daniels in the pocket? No, because Jaden Daniels is just really athletic. But like also to say like that doesn't work in the NFL. Like a lot of the best quarterbacks in the NFL are the same mobility level that he is. Like, I think we're underestimating how good of an athlete Drake May really is. Is he going to run a 50-yard touchdown? No. Like, Justin Herbert was the same thing. Like, him and Justin Herbert's mobility is like the exact same thing. Like, it's the exact same thing. So, that's number one. So, I think he actually does fit the modern build for what a quarterback is, for what he does in the pocket. Number 2, you said that he tries to make too much happen in the pocket. And I'm guessing you mean out of the pocket as well. I don't think that. I think it's if you're gonna criticize him for that, then you should be a Caleb Williams like absolute hater, because that's like half of his game is just making stuff happen out of the pocket, out of structure, like I talked about earlier. Like I remember when I went live and did this. Like there's a play I sat for like 5 minutes saying he is not making this happen in the NFL. So I not that I disagree that he doesn't make stuff happen, because all college quarterbacks try to make stuff happen. I just think if we're gonna sit here and say he's bad because he tries to make too much happen, then we have to say Caleb Williams is worse because he tries to make way more happen with more risky plays. So that's my feeling on that. I just think that if we're going to slander Drake May for those things, then we really have to slander Caleb Williams for the exact same issues that he does. Secondly, or not secondly, but my second point is with the whole New England thing, right? New England's is by far the worst situation. So I think saying that he would fit New England, like maybe if it was still Belichick, maybe, but like even then Belichick couldn't coach a quarterback. Like we've seen this. Like
don't they have a top 2? Like aren't they like top 5 in cap space or something like that?
They're high, but let's also not forget they're losing their offensive. They're losing their left tackle and right tackle in free agency.
They're losing Okonkwo and when?
Okonkwo, no, not Okonkwo. Mike and Winu and Trent Brown are both free agents.
Oh shoot!
So they're losing both. I mean, maybe they're re-signing one, but they're not re-signing both, because Mike and Windor is going to get $15 million a year, and maybe you get both. But even then, like I don't see that. So I just don't agree that that Drake May isn't that type of guy. I get maybe you have his quarterback 3, but like saying he's going to be like an awful quarterback, I just think so.
Okay. So for my the reason why he's my quarterback 3 is I prefer a guy like Jaden Daniels who can just make those kind of plays within and out, inside and outside the pocket, either with his legs or by throwing it. I just did not see a lot of that in Drake May. Now, granted, I did this at TikTok earlier in the week. I did say when Drake May had his bads would do, and it's sometimes it's due to bad play calling. It really is, and not having the right talent around him either. He did obviously at UNC, he did not have a lot of talent, and I gave him that benefit of the doubt because if you don't have good talent, you're just not going to succeed, even in college level, NFL level, hell, fucking high school level too. But all I was trying to really say is in general is that like his bads when the play is good for him are really like it's kind of bad. Like when he fucks up when he's given a golden play to run for his team. But on the other side of it too, his OC was really fucking shit. But granted, he also never had really good weapons either. So it's just a lot of like you're at that point. It goes back to what I said about Drake May being not a risk, but I feel like you're taking more of a chance on May than you are on like Daniels, and that's just kind of my take in it, just a little bit.
The last thing I want to say about Drake May, and this is because we've been on Drake May for like ever now. The last thing I want to say about it is the last point. This is what I was forgetting. So you said the bads are really bad, but the goods are just like okay. And I think that's another thing I just don't agree with. So I think when you're thinking of goods, you're thinking of like this is like a 70-yard touchdown throw when he was pressured. I think when I'm talking about goods, I'm saying I want to see him going through his progressions. I want to see. Oh, he's gone.
No, I'm still here. Okay. Sorry.
I want to see him with good ball placement. I want to see him move around from pressure. I'm not looking for 70-yard touchdowns. I'm looking for stuff that'll translate. Versus his bads, like if any of these quarterbacks' bads were just like meh, then they'd be the lock. But like Caleb Williams has really, really bads. Drake May has bads. Jaden Daniels, not really last year, but he has bads if you don't go just off of last year. So that's every quarterback has their kind of what if. Like nobody's a Trevor Lawrence or Andrew Luck this year. They're perfect. So that's why I just think like saying, oh, his bads are really bad. Like I think his goods are amazing. I think his goods are all pro level in the NFL with his arm. But I just think like all these quarterbacks have ifs. And that's why I'm just like not the biggest fan of just like critiquing him for something that if you're believing that for him, you should hate Caleb. Like I really don't get it. But go
ahead. And you know what? At the end of the day, I've kind of been saving that whole Caleb Williams film for last night, and I could be wrong, and I could agree with you very well next week after. And it's just the only reason why I haven't watched Caleb's film yet. It's because he's the number 1 pick. I'm going to save him for last because I dig deep into that. But I think it's time to move on. It's time to move on now to NFL free agency. Now, obviously, all of our teams are going to be, I hope, pretty active. And free agency, I don't know how much Tennessee's cap room is. I believe, what is it at, Dylan?
It depends who you check. Either us or Washington's number 1. So
yeah, so either or, we have the 1 or 2 teams in here who have the most cap space in the league. Obviously, we're not going to be sitting here saying that every fucking player is either going to go to Tennessee or Washington. But unless you're Dylan and you think you're going to get Ladarius Sneed, Patrick Mahomes, and because you have the God Will Levis at quarterback. No, my bad. I forgot that you look at him so highly. So now we're going to be going over free agency, and the first guy on my list is Kirk Cousins. According to Spot Track, that's where a lot of my projected salary. That's where the projected salaries I have come from. The fits and wild cards are more of a personal. I kind of looked a few of them up to kind of see if the fit would be right. So here we go. So Kirk Cousins is projected to make around 3 years, $118 million. Yeah. That is how much his contract is going to be. Now, my fits I kind of just found, obviously, are going to be the following: Denver, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. Those are my kind of 3 fits for them. Do you guys have any thoughts on those fits at all before we get to a wild card?
Pittsburgh, Denver, Atlanta. I think Pittsburgh going to be good. I think that'd be just a good situation to go into. I keep on seeing Tannehill to Pittsburgh because they hired Arthur Smith. But Kirk Cousins, I think, would be good in Pittsburgh. I don't think that'd be an issue. Denver, it turns out they kind of blackmailed Russell Wilson. I don't know if you guys saw his interview. They kind of screwed the dude over. That got to feel bad for Russell Wilson.
I saw that. Didn't they bench him because he didn't want to restructure the contract?
Yeah, they said we're going to bench you the last 9 games if you don't take away your no injury clause out of your contract, which is so stupid. I don't know how they're gonna get fined for that. I would be shocked. That's I'm pretty sure that's illegal.
Sounds like it.
I would be shocked if they don't get fined for that, at least by the NFL.
Yeah.
So fuck Denver. Other than Denver, like Atlanta, I think Kirk Cousins would be great in Atlanta. That would make that team. Oh, I don't say anybody, but I think
quarterback, but more of the premier quarterbacks in this bad quarterback.
I would like if I was an Atlanta fan, I would way rather pay Kirk Cousins money and like open the Super Bowl because I really do think like if Raheem Morris is legit, which I think he wasn't a bad hire. Like I really do think that this team has the roster with a good quarterback to be like deep playoff run guys because I think they will walk their division if they get Kirk Cousins. So like I think. Like I would way rather have Kirk Cousins in Atlanta than Justin Fields in Atlanta if I'm an Atlanta fan.
Yeah.
Just because Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback right now. Like maybe in 4 years Fields is better, but like right now it's just not a debate. So yeah, I would say all three of those would be great locations, but like Atlanta would be like my top market for him.
Yeah. So now going on to my wild cards. Now again, these were my own personal thoughts. Now again, according to Dylan, I say a lot of real stupid shit a lot. I mean, don't vouch for that. He just nodded. Chris raising his eyebrows. That's all I really needed to see. So wild cards: Seattle, Washington, Las Vegas for Kirk Cousins. Now Vegas, I only say is a wild card, even though they are quarterback needy. But I feel like they're gonna lean more into the draft to just go and get someone. Maybe I don't know. Washington could be, could not be, could be a reuniting thing. Kind of just depends. That's more of a wild card thing, in my opinion. And Seattle, I feel like Seattle again. I don't know. I feel like the whole Geno Smith thing and all that. I don't personally know how that's going. I don't know if it's going to go on the next season. If they just going to look for someone in the draft, I don't know. So I mean, those are my three wild cards. Chris, any thoughts on the wild cards?
Seattle. First off, starting with Seattle. Seattle don't really make sense to me. I mean, I feel like if you Seattle, bro, either you rocking with Geno Smith or you going to try to find your next guy in the draft, a younger guy. Because bro, if you get Kirk Cousins, that's basically like the same thing as sticking with Geno Smith. Like they like, you feel me? Like put like the same age. I guess I don't really know their exact ages range, but I'm guessing they're around the same type of like. You feel me?
Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk is older than Geno. I think.
That make it even worse. But Washington kind of make sense if you I can see like if Washington went to pick like offensive line, or it really depends on where Washington sees their team. We probably should take a younger guy, but I could see Kirk Cousins happening. But we would have to trade away Sam Howell if that happened. In my opinion, I think you should trade away Sam Howell if you want to do that. Was Las Vegas. You got an interim head coach. I don't really think that they not gonna give him that much of a long leash. He's gonna be on a short leash. I feel like it do kind of make sense for them to get a veteran quarterback instead of trying to draft one and try to win as many games as they can first year. So I wouldn't be surprised if Las Vegas go and get Kirk Cousins either.
Yeah, the Washington one, I would really not like hate that at all whatsoever. I mean, I know that San Francisco a few years ago, while Adam Peters was on staff, really wanted Kirk Cousins in San Francisco before the whole Jimmy G thing. It was really between Jimmy G or Kirk. Back in like 2019, I swore I wasn't. Isn't that not true? Isn't it? Was that not?
No, it's true. But the way they did it was stupid because they traded for Jimmy G before free agency. So like they traded for him before they could even go after Kirk or something stupid. Like it was just dumb how they did it. But yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like if Adam Peters is kind of like Kirk Cousins, I feel like that could be a conversation we could have, but I don't think it will happen just because we're and more invested in a rookie quarterback. But now, following free agent is Chris Jones. Projected salary for next season, according to Spot Track, is going to be 3 years, $85 million. Best fits for him, I'm obviously going to say Kansas City. He runs it back with Kansas City on another 1-year deal, or he'll get that extension like he wants. Or Vegas, Chicago, or Houston. Now, Dylan or Chris, if you'd like to insert anything into that, if you think he's going to leave, going to stay, or
no way he leaves KC.
Yeah, nah, they're going to keep him there, bro. Just
right.
Like, yeah.
He already said he doesn't want to leave. It's a really hard bargaining tactic. At worst, he gets tagged, but like, I think there's no way he leaves.
Should I even say his wild cards to play that scenario if it happens?
But no, I think there's like a 99.9% chance he stays in KC next year.
Yeah, I agree.
That'd be like a Tyreek Hill type thing where like they just won't pay him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, Mike Evans, projected salary of 4 years, $95 million. Best fits, obviously, We can't rule out Kansas City. You know how they're always invested in a wide receiver. Texans and returning to Tampa. You think that Mike Evans returns to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I would imagine he goes back to Tampa. I think another team in the division who he could really help would be Carolina. Not that he's like an elite one anymore. I think he's like kind of what's that like for? You think he's still an elite number one?
I mean, he played pretty good
I think he could do exactly what Nuke did last year for Tennessee and put up like a barely 1,000-yard season. Bryce needs somebody who he can throw the ball to. Like I'm not a big Bryce guy. I wasn't a big Bryce guy last year, but he needs somebody who can separate when he needs to, and somebody who can catch throws when he doesn't know who to throw it to. He can just throw it to him. It's exactly what Levis did do last year to Hopkins. Like almost all of Levis's production was to Hopkins because there's times he didn't know what to do, and it was just fuck it, throw it to that guy. And Mike Evans can do the exact same thing for Bryce Young. So I think that makes sense. Because I just think at this point in his career, if he's not going to just ring chase with KC, I mean, he's going to go to somebody who needs him to just be able to catch a lot of contested throws. And I think that would be in Carolina. So I think it'd be Carolina or Tampa for him.
Right. So now going on to his wild cards, I could see them having them sign with the New York Giants or the Washington Commanders. Do you see any of those scenarios happening in the slightest? Anyone?
I mean, if the Giants drop like a stupendous bag, like they drop some crazy money, then yeah, Commanders definitely not. But I don't see why we would do that.
Yeah, like Giants. I mean, they need a wideout, but like they haven't really tried to invest in one. Kenny Golladay, like they keep on drafting like these second round. I guess they drafted Hyatt, but he was second, and like they keep on drafting these guys who like just can't separate. I don't know why. I really don't want them to take Malik Neighbors because I really want Malik Neighbors, but like if they don't take Malik Neighbors at 6, I don't know what they're like unless they take a quarterback. I don't know what they'd be doing.
They could go get a Dunze if they really like a Dunze too.
I would be shocked if many NFL teams would value a Dunze over Malik Neighbors. I would be really surprised. Not that a Dunze isn't good, but like Malik Neighbors is insane when you start watching the film of him. So, and then Washington, I think that would make zero sense unless he's going to take no money to go to a team. I don't see it.
Yeah, like I said, these are wild card picks. So, Saquon Barkley, projected salary 3 years, $29 million. He's been wanting that since last offseason. Now, some of his fits, I feel like we already know one of them. He just could return to the Giants if that's a possibility. Not looking too likely, though. Or the Houston Texans. Any one of those seem like it could happen. I feel like there could be a Giants return and New York gets their heads out of their asses and values the fact that he carries their offense. Or Texans could throw a bag at him and get him a nice all-pro weapon for CJ Stroud. What do we think?
You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. So I think unfortunately, and this is the bad part about being a running back right now. This is a really good running back free agency class, and unfortunately, I think a lot of them are going to get. I don't think humbled is the right term, but like all three of these guys were in those meetings when they were saying we deserve to get paid, and none of their teams have valued them. Like I'm going to be like none of their like Henry was not going to get re-signed. They had a chance to tag him, like they were not going to pay him. Saquon, Giants don't want to pay. They did not want to pay Josh Jacobs. Like they don't want to pay these guys. So I think the likelihood of him getting a bag is very, very low from any team. I think a very likely possibility for any of these three guys is I think one of them for sure, or maybe both, two. They're going to think they're going to go get $12 million a year. They're going to get offers for like $4 or $5 million a year for like a year from like a good team. And then they're going to get like the $9 million deal from like the team that they were with originally or like a really bad team. And that's just up to the player at that point. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if Saquon goes to like KC next year, like a $3-4 million deal. But like, he's not going to get a bag from a good team unless he's going to go to a team like, I don't know. I'm blanking on like the worst team, but unless he goes to like, you know, a really bad team, I don't think any of them are going to get paid because like other than Saquon, he's the only guy who can really fit in any offense and he gets injured. Like these other two, Josh Jacobs and Henry, like need to be in an offense that's going to push through them. It's like I think all of them are going to get kind of a little taste of it.
Yeah, I think Jacobs is going to stay back in Las Vegas. I think there was a report that came out that they're going to try to do anything at all costs to bring him back.
And it used
Chris, the wild card pick for this one, it's a weird one, but their current running back has been getting injured a lot. He's battled through injuries. I think this fit is just. I think it could be well for a guy, the reigning MVP, the Baltimore Ravens. Saquon Barkley, Baltimore. How do you see it happening? Could it happen, and could it benefit both teams?
I mean, I think it can happen. Like Dylan said, bro, he would have to take a way cheaper contract than he can get. I think he's either going to stay with the Giants. I think he's definitely going to end up staying with the Giants. But if I was Saquon Barkley, I'm taking the cheap contract for the top team, bro. With the top team, bro, like Chiefs, Bills, Ravens. I think they all could use Saquon Barkley. I feel like they'd be better if they get Saquon Barkley. But none of them are in a position to where they have to pay Saquon Barkley top money, so they're not. So he's really like I said, just like Dylan said, all the running backs in tough situations, bro. So they most likely gonna end up staying with their team, but all of them except Henry.
Mm-hmm. I will say I would be really, really, really surprised if Baltimore signs a running back and it's not Derrick Henry. Like to be honest with you, like they've been rumored to want him for like they just tried to trade him from like a few months ago. It's like I would be really surprised if they pay Saquon over Henry, just because they really want him. What?
I wouldn't be shocked if he went to Philly either.
Who? Saquon?
Derrick.
I don't think Derrick fits that offense. Saquon does. Derrick doesn't.
I'm just going off of the fact that they've always wanted him too. They've been wanting him for.
I'm saying so with Baltimore, you have a really inside zone scheme for his running for what they run. So that fits what Henry's always been good at. Mm-hmm. Philly last year, especially with Swift, who was really good for them. So another free agent, by the way.
Yeah.
Like they ran a lot of outside zone and they liked throwing to their backs a lot. I think Saquon would really be good in Philly. I would be really surprised if it doesn't end up like Saquon, Philly, and then Henry in Baltimore.
Yeah. So now going on, this guy just got franchise tagged today, but he is seeking a trade. Ladarius Sneed. His projected salary was 4 years, $65 million. His best fits: Chargers, Rams, Commanders. Wild card. Fuck off, buddy. You're not getting him. And wild card, Vegas. Do you see Charvarius Ward going to any of these teams?
So, number one, by the way, like we are definitely in that running. I just want you to know, like we were like every single person who mocked free agency, like we were like top 3 in like every like category. I think we were like number 2 or 3 betting odds to get Ladarius Sneed in free agency. Anyway, I think trading, so you'd have to trade and pay for him. I don't think he's going to get moved because he's a very, very, very good corner. Are you really wanting to give up probably a first and $22 million a year for Ladarius Sneed right now? Like what teams in position to do that? Like not many. Like maybe you could get him for a second in a contract, but like we just saw like a lot of good players get, like AJ went for a first in a contract, but at that point AJ was like a top 12 receiver. Ladarius Sneed's like the second, third best corner in the league right now. You're gonna have to give up probably a first, another pick, and a contract. Like that would be a really, really tough that'd be tough for both teams. Yeah. I don't think he gets moved after that tag.
Yeah, it was an interesting situation, and in particular, Chris, would you like to see Ladarius Sneed in Washington, and what would you do to give it up?
Like you said, it's all about the price of what I'd want to give up. Obviously, this may be this may be me being a little too cheap, but I would probably give up like a second round pick. I think we'd have a high second round pick due to us being like this, you know. So I feel like we'd be basically almost a first round pick. I'd give up the second this year. You pay the contract, so you got that over on them. You got the contract, a high second, and then you give them maybe like a third because we got a couple thirds. So you maybe give them a third or maybe all of your thirds, but that's probably as high as I'd go.
But yeah. I imagine if any team were to trade for him, I'd imagine it'd be post draft. I'd way rather give up a first next year and to get Ladarius Sneed than a first right now, especially knowing you're at 2. Like obviously you guys aren't going to do it at 2, right. But like knowing you guys also have like the 33rd pick or the 34th or whatever your pick is. I think it's 33, right? Because they don't have a. I think it's 33.
Maybe.
Anyway, I would way rather give up next year's second or next year's first, hoping you're going to be like a middle, like 18th, 19th pick, than give up like the 33rd overall pick right now. Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. If it's post draft, I'd get it, but pre draft, I don't think it's going to happen.
Right. Now, going on now, he is a edge rusher on the Minnesota Vikings currently. Look, Daniel Hunter, projected salary is this year is 3 years, $60 million. Best fits is Rams, Washington, Chicago. Wild card team being the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dylan, is this a guy that should have the name Tennessee in it or no?
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it, but I don't think it's like their like fifth highest need. So like I don't think it'd be a team that'd be like, we're gonna go pay $20 million a year for Daniel Hunter.
Okay, all right. So Daniel Hunter now for this situation, for obviously Washington, we could really use one. We could really use a Daniel Hunter, I think, on one side of the ball. I want to see KJ Henry develop on the other side of the ball, so kind of have like a 1-2 combo with KJ Henry and maybe a Daniel Hunter, Brian Burns, Josh Allen. I would not mind Daniel Hunter coming into Washington. I think it'd be a really good pickup. Only thing that concerns me is the age. With him being 29, I would prefer to go get somebody younger, like a Brian Burns or a Josh Allen. But I really wouldn't mind him in Washington. Dylan, any thoughts on Daniel Hunter?
So okay, so that's interesting. So number one, I think the likelihood of Brian Burns or Josh Allen hitting free agency is like none. Brian Burns maybe because he really wants a lot of money, but they would just tag him. And then Josh Allen, like he was so good last year, and Trayvon Walker, who like everyone thought sucked, like he was really good last year too. I would be really surprised, especially if you're gonna let him walk and then sign Daniel Hunter. I don't know why Jacksonville will be up on that list, just because like you have a technically a better player with Josh Allen who probably get the same money. Washington, I still would struggle because while Daniel Hunter's better, like you just traded away both your edge rushers, and now you're gonna go pay an edge rusher $20 million. I get it's a different front office, but it would still like suck. Daniel Hunter also had the best season. Yeah, I mean that sounds.
Yeah, well, we also saw
that. The difference is though those guys were gonna cost more. Most likely, were gonna cost more, and not only that, bro. It's like you got two of them. You had two of them. They both probably were gonna. They're both younger than Daniel Hunter, so they probably were gonna cost more. I feel like, bro, paying Daniel Hunter wouldn't be bad. I'd pay him if I was watching. I'd definitely want him on Washington. Yeah. Definitely, it's like if he's projected 3 or 60.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Now going on to the next one. It's the end of the era for King Henry. And so it is for Chris. King Henry. Projected salary, 1 year, 10 mil. Best fits that I saw was kind of shocked by the second one, but not really. Obviously, number one, Dylan mentioned it earlier, was the Baltimore Ravens. Number two being the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
And then obviously his wild card team I selected was Philadelphia. I feel all three teams could use his services. Dylan, I'm gonna ask you on a sad question level. Are you sad that the whole King Henry era is over now? I mean,
I love Derrick Henry. So I mean, of course, I think it sucks. I don't think they should resign him. I don't think it makes sense. I really do think it's going to be interesting to see how long he's on the market and what contract he gets. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some teams like will pay you $10 million, $11 million a year. I also think the likelihood of him taking a 1-year deal is low because he's going to realize how bad the market is. So Baltimore, I think, is the first name that comes to mind. Dallas would make sense. He lives in Dallas, and I was reading that comment.
All right, my bad.
I think Dallas would make sense for him just because Tony Pollard didn't play that well last year, so I think having a guy like Henry for that would be good for him. So I have those two teams. I really don't think Philly will just because of the scheme they run, but I mean, who knows?
Now, next is it's going to be an interesting one. I'm going to let Chris take this next one, Dylan. Chase Young, projected salary, which when I read the projected salary, I think I was shocked, but then I kind of remembered everything. 1 year, $13 million is his projected salary for next season. His best fits. Now, I put one of the fits up there because I miss them too much. Washington, Chicago, reuniting in San Francisco. His wild card being Jacksonville. Chris.
I'm not gonna lie. I think he likes San Francisco. I don't think he wants to be in Washington. Definitely after the way he talked about, I wouldn't want him back. After the way he kind of just like belittled us as an NFL franchise compared to the 49ers, bro. He kind of like just like called us like, he basically just said that we are like this and they're this, bro. So basically, I think he likes it in San Francisco. I think he should stay in San Francisco. Probably, I think that him getting $13 million in 1 year would be robbery. So whoever is willing to pay that, should. But I think he should stay in San Francisco. I think that's a good spot for him. I mean, nowhere else he could really he really not doing anything anyway. So I mean, might as well just like come sit outside me on the couch or something, bro. But I mean, being honest, bro. Maybe San Francisco, he can easily run off 3 sacks off of Nick Bosa. So
yeah,
at least he'll be doing something.
Yeah. So now going on, we have 2 more big free agent names, and then we're gonna call it wraps. The big one free agency, Josh Allen, projected salary 5 years, $119 million. Fits obviously him staying back in Jacksonville, like Dylan said, probably most likely what's gonna happen. Once again, the Chicago Bears, as you know, they are rumored to get everybody and their fucking mom, and the Washington Commanders. Wild card, Giants, Vikings.
Okay. So again, I think a player like that hitting free agency is very, very rare. He's just really good and he's in his prime. So I would struggle to think he leaves. If he does, one thing I will say, right? So the reason Chicago's mocked to get everybody is because Ryan Poles last year spent so much money on like every top guy he could. So I get why they're like mocked to get everybody because he's just very, very aggressive. I think if you can get Josh Allen and Montez Sweat, that's really, really good. Like that's insane. But I think honestly, you wouldn't want to spend another guy like Montez Sweat. I'd rather just like get like a second, third round guy to go next to him and just hope he can like pan out to be like a decent second. Who's the other teams?
Washington. He stays in Jacksonville, Chicago, New York, Minnesota.
Washington, I think, would be better spending their money somewhere else. Even though if he's there again, I think that'd be a great spend. I just think you guys have holes that you guys would need to fix. The Giants, I don't think should do it. It's kind of similar. I think they just have holes they need to fix. Specifically, like I think Kayvon's going to be a decent player, and he's shown flashes of it. So I don't think it's worth signing Josh Allen to what you'd have to do. And then I'm blanking on the other one again.
Minnesota.
I mean, that if they lose to Neil Hunter, yeah, sure.
And then lastly, kind of an not underrated, but one of the top 10 guy in this position. I was shocked when I saw him. I didn't think he was a free agent either. Christian Wilkins, projected salary being 4 years, $80 million. Best fits, probably returning back to Miami if that's the case, or going to the New England Patriots, and a wild card team being the up and coming Detroit Lions.
I mean, I don't know if I'd call him like top of his position. He's good. Like
I said he's top 10 in this position, which I think he is.
In a lot of top 10 ranks, he's in it. So
he's in there, but he's not. I don't think he's like
the higher.
Yeah.
No, he's in the lower. I mean, still, granted, he's top 10. So
So I mean, like, he's gonna do like the same thing as like Javon Hargrave last year. I feel like he's gonna get signed to like a decent deal for a good team. Like, I don't think he's gonna like break the market for defensive tackles. Like, it had to be like you have to be like a top 3 guy at your position to do that. So
yeah.
I think he'll be like a good team. Detroit would make sense. I think he's honestly kind of a big personality to be in a Detroit defense. To be honest with you, like that Detroit defense, like there's to be honest, like there's all like very quiet people other than CJ when he was there. But like that's just honest. I'm not saying that's why they wouldn't sign him, but I think he would stick out on a Detroit defense. Other than that, like I think almost any team could use a Christian Wilkins if they have the money for it. So, yeah, he's a good player, but
Yeah,
You know.
I get that. Chris, anything on Christian Wilkins?
I think going to Detroit would be cool, but he's probably gonna get re-signed on the Dolphins. So
Yeah, I think.
not really much else to say.
Yeah, true. All right. Well, that is going to be our talk for the day. That is going to be our Wednesday episode. If you guys liked it, subscribe to it, whatnot. And yeah, thank you guys all for watching today. We will be back next week to hopefully discuss something needs to happen because I'm running out of some things to talk about no week to week. But if you guys have anything you guys want to talk about or anything like that, let us know and subscribe and have a good night.